Key senators believe that the Pentagon's UFO office is lying. Shock, horror. I'm sure no one is surprised to hear that headline coming out of The Hill yesterday at the time of recording. So, like I say, The Hill has made this this statement, and they say key members of Congress delivered an astounding rebuke to the Pentagon's UFO analysis office last week, doubling down on whistleblower allegations of the secret US government UFO programs, which of course Arrow came out recently, which is obviously the UFO department of the Pentagon, and stating that there is no such thing as a UFO program, reverse engineer program, or there's no evidence of alien craft or pilots being on this planet. Rumours of surreptitious UFO retrieval and reverse engineering efforts have circulated for decades, buoyed recently by extraordinary congressional interest and legislation, as well as remarkable whistleblower testimony. Obviously talking about David Grush there. In March, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW, the Department of Defense's UFO analysis program, released a 63-page report categorically denying the existence of such activities. Sean Kirkpatrick, Arrow's former director, amplified the report's findings in a series of combative opinion pieces and interviews. Unsurprising there. I mean, if you have read the entire document, it's just a load of nothing. And actually, Arrow doesn't even have like beyond level 2 clearance. So it's ridiculous that there's this arm of the Pentagon which is expected to go out and report on these UFO findings, but then they can't even go as far as, they can't go further than just hearsay reports. They can't go and actually look at the stuff because they've not got more than level 2 clearance. So the whole point of Arrow is just messed up. But congressional legislation formally introduced last week represents remarkable rebuke of Arrow and Kirkpatrick's empathetic denials. Notably, the Intelligence Authorization Act of the fiscal year 2025 would cut off funding for any activity involving UFOs protected under any form of special access or restricted access limitations. That has not been reported to Congress as required by law. So that basically means that by October 11th, I want to say, of 2024, the government, Pentagon, and everyone else must, by law, hand over all information that they have on UFOs. And if they don't, it would be in breach of this legislation, and then legal action can be pressed, all the rest of it. But, you know, it means nothing. Obviously, these people are the masters of deception and lying, so I don't think we're going to actually get a sniff of anything, but obviously, Congress are doing all that they can to press this matter. In other words, despite Arrow's sweeping denials of secret, unreported UFO activities, the Senate Intelligence Committee believes that such programs do indeed exist. They have been confirmed by multiple whistleblowers. Critically, the legislation released last week also requires the Government Accountability Office to conduct a review of Arrow. This formal review by Congress' in-house investigative agency is a stark demonstration of the Senate Intelligence Committee's lack of confidence in Arrow. Unsurprising, we all have a distinct lack of confidence in Arrow. Key senators, in short, believe that the Pentagon's UFO office is either not being truthful with the American public or is not executing its mission effectively. Obviously, that is a big thing over in the States, is transparency. Obviously, we all want transparency from our governments. I know from living in the UK, like, our government's really bad for lying, but it seems that over in the States as well, it's a big issue too. Moreover, the committee's legislation explicitly prohibits government contractors from utilising a specific nuanced budgetary process to fund unreported UFO programs. This indicates that the Senate Intelligence Committee is zeroing on the allegations alluded to by whistleblowers and in previous legislation that, quote, exotic craft of non-human, non-Earth origin are being held in by secret private defence contractors. Obviously, those are the testimonies of David Grush and his fellow whistleblowers who have come forward as well. Last July, Air Force veteran and former intelligence official David Grush testified under oath that the existence of illicit UFO retrieval and reverse engineering programs. Not only do Grush's allegations align with the recent legislation, but he also alleged that the private contractors exploit the same budgetary process to circumvent legislative oversight. At the same time, the Intelligence Committee's legislation includes nearly 30 pages of robust new whistleblower protections. The provisions appear to be crafted to encourage additional UFO whistleblowers to come forward, largely by mitigated and conditions that led to the vicious reprisals of that Grush alleges he endured. So that is basically talking about, obviously, David Grush, one of the biggest people to come out over probably the last decade, to talk about UFOs and stuff, and he had no security whatsoever, to the point where it has been confirmed by Grush himself that people from the Pentagon tried to have him imprisoned before he could blow the whistle on UFOs and release to the world what he knew, which of course got all eyes on the Pentagon. Moreover, among several remarkable provisions, the UAP Disclosure Act alleges that elements of the US government have secretly operated decades-long legacy programs that seek to retrieve and reverse engineer UFOs of non-human origin. Should the Schumer-led legislation resurface later this summer, as seems likely, it would amount to yet another rebuke of the Pentagon's UFO office. In December, on the Senate floor, Schumer had stated that the, quote, "the United States government has gathered a great deal of information about UFOs over many decades and has refused to share it with the American people." That apparently comes down to basically mass hysteria and trying to tease out information gently so they don't bulk panic people, but it's a load of bollocks. According to Schumer, multiple credible sources have alleged that the elements of the US government have withheld UFO-related information from Congress illegally. Last June, Senator Marco Rubio, Vice Chairman to the Senate Intelligence Committee, made a series of similarly startling UFO-related comments, providing further insights into the extraordinary allegations of underlying the legislation. According to Rubio, smart, educated people with high clearances and very important positions within our government have come to Congress with claims about the US recovering exotic materials and then reverse engineering those materials to make advances in our own defense and technologies, which to me is just absolutely mind-boggling. These people are sat in front of crafts that have travelled, allegedly, millions of light years. And what do we do with it as a human race? We take that technology and instead of pumping that into advancing our civilization, you know, we could literally leapfrog 1,000 years of technological advances in the space of probably about 12 months. But instead, we pump it into weapons. We are stupid. We are a stupid race. Anyway. In August, Senator Gillibrand, a member of the Senate of Defense and Intelligence Committees, echoed Rubio's comments describing the UFO whistleblower who informed the Congress legislation as, quote, very thoughtful, serious people. Asked in early May whether Arrow's report categorically denying the existence of illicit UFO efforts is a, quote, case closed. Gillibrand stated, oh, it's definitely not case closed. And, of course, Gillibrand has come out recently to Matt Laszlo on the Ask a Poll website and stated that this summer, hopefully in July, they are pressing, so that's only next month, they are pressing for more public congressional UFO hearings, which will be fantastic. Christopher Mellon, the Department of Defense's former top civilian intelligence official, took Arrow to task the scathing 16,000-word analysis of the report. At the same time, Arrow released a remarkably flawed case resolution report on the highly anomalous UFO incident the U.S. Air Force personnel had felt obligated to report Matt Gates' office. Arrow's risible explanation of this encounter exemplified the absurd, unscientific explanations that the US government has offered up for countless highly credible UFO incidents in the nearly a century. So that is in regards to the Eglin UFO case, which of course was cited by many military personnel who I would be inclined to believe they're not, like, they are of sound mind to be in the military. They are also incredibly credible people because of the, you know, the rigorous training that they have to go through and stuff. It's drilled into these people that, like, you know, integrity, honesty, all the rest of it. And they just described this metallic object as a lighter than air balloon. Yep, a helium balloon was their response to that. Ridiculous. Perhaps worse, Arrow made no progress in identifying the mysterious objects observed on a daily basis over a course of several years by naval aviators in tightly controlled training airspace off the US East Coast. According to the Navy documents, the UFOs, which exhibited highly anomalous flight characteristics, such as the ability to remain airborne with extreme durations or to remain perfectly stationary against hurricane-force winds, pose a, quote, critical flight safety risk. Unsurprisingly, the Pentagon's inability to make sense of these year-long severe threat to the naval aviation left fighter pilots exasperated. Nor has Arrow provided any answers following the series of astonishing UFO incursions and in alarming proximity to the sensitive US military installations over the last 5 years. The mysterious objects exhibited highly anomalous technology, including the ability to operate in well over 100-mile offshore, descended slowly to the ocean, or remarkably to emit no sound while flying for long durations of extreme weather conditions. In the few notable instances over the Great Plains in the late 2019 and early 2020, for example, law enforcement officers observed dozens of UFOs operating in conjunction with the stationary, quote, mothership. Over the course of several hours, alarmingly, some of the week-long incursions were clustered around nuclear missile silos and missile command stations, matching the decades-long trend of extraordinary UFO activity in close proximity to US nuclear assets, which again is something that has been widely talked about by many military personnel who have had these fantastic nuclear arms that are supposed to be impenetrable, unless you're the one controlling them, literally get disabled. One instance, even having a nuclear missile hidden about 30 feet below surface level under lead concrete and all the rest of it, and this missile was disabled by a craft that was sighted hovering for about 30 seconds above surface level. Arrows just has nothing to say about that, so they just chose to ignore it. It never existed. Anyway. At the same time, Arrow has no explanation. Oh, I've spoken about that. At the same time, Arrow has no explanations for dozens of UFO incursions over the Air Force ranges in Arizona in 2022 and 2023, including incidents involving up to 8 objects at a time and encountered at altitudes of up to 36,000 feet, far in excess of the operating altitude of conventional drones. Similarly, Arrow has no answers for the shocking weeks-long series of UFO incidents over Langley Air Force Base in the late 2023. It should come as little surprise then that key senators do not trust the Pentagon's UFO office. The stakes could not be higher. Now, I know that was a massive information dump. There was a lot of reading going on there. I tried to break it down as best I could from the knowledge that I've got, but this is just massively unsurprising. Do I think this is going to change anything? Absolutely not. Do I think that October deadline for the Pentagon and the government to fess up all the information that they have to the public is going to come to fruition? Absolutely not. These guys, like I said before, are the masters of deception and lying to their people. But not just their people, but to the people of the world. Right now, all eyes are on America when it comes to UFOs. It always has been. And America has long made themselves the hotspot, the home of all things UFO and extraterrestrial. You know, pop culture has always made it that way as well. When aliens come down to Earth and say, take me to your leader, it's always to the President of the United States. It's always the White House that gets blown up in these movies. It's always, it's always that way inclined. But they've put that pressure upon themselves, because they have offered little to no explanation for these phenomena. And of course, America is a huge country, bordering many states and, harbouring many, many people. So of course, it's undeniable that that would be the home. Of course, it's where NASA is as well. It's where Area 51 is, an incredibly secretive military base. It's where, you've got all of these UFO hotspots. And it's unsurprising that Congress don't believe them, but it's fantastic that Congress is able to stand up to these people and say, right, we've got the power to make you hand over this information. Because for a very long time, it was just the general public who were doing that, and the general public have absolutely zero sway over the government. But What do you guys think of this? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Tick on my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload to the channel. Until next time, guys, I hope you have enjoyed. Cannot wait to speak to you later, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.